So, when you haven't seen someone for a really long time and you look at them and you go, man, I hope I don't look that old. So I heard a story about a woman who was in a dentist office. It was her first time in this new dentist office, and she was in the lobby and she saw his certificate and she saw his full name. And she said, oh, I remember this young, handsome man, this tall guy, and in high school, and how good looking he was. And she said, and then the dentist comes in and she meets him and she's like, oh, I hope I don't look that old. And so they get done with the appointment and she says, did you go to the local high school? And he said, yes, I did. And she said, well, what year did you get out? And he said, 1971. And she said, well, you were in my class. And he looked at her, he goes, what class did you teach? I love that. It's just kind of funny because it's, so true at times. But, okay, why did I share that particular joke? You're probably going like, what does this have to do with anything? But we're in week 2 of our 7-week program of our fall program, which is, we're using this book, The Sacred Art of Loving Kindness. And we're talking about the 13 attributes of loving kindness according to Judaism. We covered the first 2 last week, recognizing the divinity within ourselves and within others. And how an angel, a legend says from Judaism, that an angel announces us before we come, always saying, behold, the image and likeness of God, behold. Did any of you imagine that this week as people were coming towards you? Or behold, the image and likeness of God. So we have to allow ourselves to be that image and likeness of God, to know it, to get a grasp of that idea that we are the image of God, that it's innate in us. And then we get to choose whether we express from that image into the likeness of God. And so as we watched the video last week of Rabbi Rami, he said it's really important to get these 2 down first before we get to the other ones, because it's grounding. We have to ground ourselves in that truth, that we are the image and likeness of God, and so is everyone else. Everyone else is this same image, this pattern. So the third attribute of loving kindness that we can cultivate is creativity. And creativity doesn't mean necessarily that you're a good artist or a good writer or a good singer or any of that. It means that we are creators in our lives. That because we recognize that spirit, Elohim, in the Hebrew scriptures, Elohim, the creator, that if spirit is all there is, we too are creators. We can create each moment new. We don't have to live repeated moments over and over and over. Every moment can be fresh. And so Rami, this is one of my favorite chapters. I have it highlighted so much and paper clipped everywhere. And be true to your own face, he says. There's so many one-liners in here. I'll get to them, but be true to your own face. Be the creative person you are. Be the unique being that you are. There's nobody like you ever was created in this lifetime. In nobody. You are unique. You are a living, breathing miracle. Can you take that in? I am a living, breathing miracle. There's been nobody ever in the history of mankind that is exactly you. And so we can create, because we are unique beings, we can create fresh moments. Be true to your own face. I mean, don't try to be someone else. Be the best you can be. And we can admire other people, and we can want to emulate some of their, their attributes and things like that, but be true to who you are. Be true to your own face, whatever age that face happens to be. Be true to you. I love that phrase. Usually when I'm going to recommend something on TV, to stream, it's usually either a true story or wholesome. Now, I'm going to preface this is neither a true story or wholesome. But it's a perfect example of something where the characters are true to their own face. And it's called, what's it called? It's a rom-com series. Somebody yell it out because I think other people are watching it. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. I'm such a sucker for a good rom-com. Nobody wants this. And it's a rabbi and a woman that does podcasts, and she's all in her crazies, and he's all in his being a rabbi, and they're true to their own face. That's what I love about that. And if you want a good rom-com, if you're like me and you love that, it's so cute. It's only 10 episodes, short. Anyway, they're true to their own face, who they are. Not trying to be somebody else for somebody else. Another quote in here from this week is, "Go forth." Go forth. I'm in the wrong chapter. Here we go. Abram, in the book of Genesis, is told to leave his home, leave his family, go to another land, go to another country, go and start a new life. And I will give you a blessing, says the Lord. Go forth. Now, in Judaism, they say that there's the story, which we would say in Unity, the literal interpretation. They don't say that. They say the story. And then there's different levels of meaning that we can give it. And so with this one, this is a really important story because Spirit is talking to each one of us. When Spirit says, go forth, doesn't mean actually leave your home, leave your culture, leave your parents, leave your family, leave your friends. It means go forth. It means go within. Go within. Leave those thought patterns. Now, in the Bible, in Unity, when we look at Scripture, we say we looked at the metaphysical interpretation. People are thoughts. Cultures would be a thought pattern. A city would be a thought pattern, a certain way of thinking. And so leave those patterns. Leave those comfort zones. Leave those ways of being that are no longer serving you. And I will give you a blessing. Blessing means to invoke good, it means increase. Leave those things that are no longer serving you. Leave those comfort zones and create something new. Be the creator that you are and create something new. Create a fresh moment. Plant some seeds. Create new life. We are invited to do this constantly in our lives, to create a different experience. This week, I don't know I think it might have been Raven's idea, Raven or Ann, but we have some bald spots out in the yard. The sprinklers didn't quite hit the grass. It was a hot summer, as you know. And so one of them, I think it was Raven, decided we should plant clover because it takes fast, it's green, it's easy. And so she ordered some clover, and we planted it out in the yard. You want to show the pictures, Doug? So these are clover seeds. They're really tiny. It just takes a little thing to grow new life, a tiny little thought. A tiny little thing can create something new, something beautiful, new life. And you can flip. We're just digging into the bag of the seeds, scattering the seeds. And we're excited to watch them take root, to watch them. We don't get to see them get grounded, but this is what we do in our lives. A new thought, a new idea, something creative, a new moment. And let it take root in you. Let it ground you in a new way of being, a new life. Allow it to spring forth. Allow it to grow. It's so beautiful. We don't want to keep living the same moments over and over. We're not here to do that. We're here to live new life. When we stay stuck and don't create, we live in narrow mind. He talks about this in the first chapter as well. Narrow mind versus spacious mind. Narrow mind. And he says that when we step out of fixed and narrow mind, we see all things as astonishing. Life is astonishing if we allow it to be fresh, to be new, to create. So be true to your own face and go forth. Go within. Take that journey. Go within. What is true for you? What is longing to come forth from you? You go forth within so that you can bring forth that new idea. And we can't have loving kindness if we're living the same moments over and over. If we're stuck in our thought patterns, if we're stuck in our stuff, if we're stuck in our crazy, as Joanne and nobody wants this, we're stuck in our crazy, and she wants to do something new, try something different. How about a healthy relationship? What would that look like? So we're invited into this all the time, to walk towards ourself. Walk towards yourself, your own true face. We have so much potential within, and we don't even realize it if we're just living the same moments over and over. So we're invited into that. And then he says, just look. Just look. You wonder whether you're in narrow mind or spacious mind? Just look. Look within. If you're in narrow mind, what are you going to feel? You're going to feel fear. You're going to feel anxiety. You're going to feel resentment. You're going to feel things that you would rather not feel. And if you're in spacious mind, you're going to feel free. You're going to feel love. You're going to feel Spirit's presence. Yeah, that's why I love that song, Free Your Soul. Free your soul to be in spacious mind. Free your soul of those same patterned thoughts. To go forth, to be creative. Be the creator that you are. Be the living, breathing miracle that you are. Because each of us is that. Rabbi Rami talks about how that our minds are mostly chaotic. Life is mostly chaotic. We have to practice being centered. We have to practice it. And in the midst of all that chaos, we can hold our seat. Hold your seat. Hold your seat and don't let the chaos make you fall over. He talks about being a Weeble. Remember that toy came out in 1971? I looked it up. When did the Weebles come out? 1971. So you all remember the song, Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Yeah, see? Be a Weeble. Be a Weeble. In the midst of whatever chaos might be going on in our world, in your circles, in your families and your life and your mind. You have a choice. That's our power of will. You have a choice to be a weeble. You do. You have a choice to not let it knock you over. And I get, life does. Life throws us lots of curveballs. There's a lot. The Buddha says his teaching is suffering and the end of suffering. There's a lot of suffering. But hold your seat. And don't let it knock you over. Be that creative, living, breathing miracle that you are. And he says how if you just watch the chaos, be an observer. Allow yourself to step out of it so that you can just observe it. So that you're not caught up in it. And then the second chapter that we're reading this week, chapters 2 and 3, is all about compassion. And so once we know that we are divine beings, once we recognize our own divinity, recognize that everybody else is divine, and that we can create new experiences, we can hold each other with compassion. We can hold it because we can create fresh moments for each person. And he says, have fearless compassion, meaning you can hold somebody and whatever they're going through and not get caught up in it. And he said the most fearless thing that we can do with compassion is to reveal what they're going through without actually taking it on ourselves. Rabbi Rami talked about one of his teachers of a metta practice her name is Sharon Salzberg, and she was actually featured in Spirituality and Health this month in the new magazine that used to be called Unity Magazine, and I keep feeling like I have to keep telling you it was Unity Magazine, and now it's Spirituality and Health, a Unity publication. She's featured in it about cultivating loving kindness, which we are doing, which we are working on, which is our thing this fall. And she started a retreat center in Massachusetts years and years ago. And she talked about how in the early 70s, they were having the Dalai Lama come. She has a book called Loving Kindness also. She has lots of books out. But she talks about how the Dalai Lama was coming to visit her retreat center. And she had broken her leg and she was on crutches. And so as the Dalai Lama is coming, they had all this security for him. They had, video surveillance and lots of roads blocked and all kinds of security for him. And because she was on crutches, and she's leading the retreat, but because she's on crutches, she was way in the back of this crowd of people that were there to greet him and welcome him to the retreat center. And the Dalai Lama, who says kindness is his religion, which I love, kindness is his religion, he gets out of the car and he notices her way in the back of the crowd. And he walks straight towards her and says, "What happened? How are you?" And she said, "He didn't need to fix me. He couldn't. He didn't need to take away my pain. He couldn't. He just showed compassion." And she said that was the most healing thing he could have done. Just show compassion, just by being present for someone. Just by being there. We can make someone's day just by smiling at them. So in this chapter, in chapter 3, there's a metta. They talk about using the metta prayer. Is it called metta practice? Metta, meaning gentle and friend. And I was watching a video clip of Rabbi Rami. It was a longer one, so I didn't share with you, but he talks about his metta practice, and his metta practice is, may you be free of fear. May you be free of compulsion. May you be blessed by love, and may you be blessed by peace. And he uses that with anybody, with himself, because we have to first use it on ourselves, and then anyone else that maybe is triggering him or challenging him, or someone he doesn't necessarily relate with. And he was talking about how he and his dad were like this. And every time he would call home, he'd talk to his mom, because he and his dad didn't really see eye to eye. He wasn't the son he thought his dad wanted, because he wasn't into sports. He's a rabbi. And he got this idea to start using the metta practice on his dad. And so may you be free of fear, may you be free of compulsion, may you be blessed by love, may you be blessed by peace. And he said, you know what? Then he had a talk with his dad, and it went like that. It didn't get like this. It took a while. But the metta practice is beautiful, and it's something that I have used too when there's been people in my life that I have struggled with. Use it on myself first, and then use it with other people. And it doesn't change, and don't use it thinking you're going to change anybody. You're not going to change anybody. You're going to open your own heart. You're going to open your own consciousness. You're going to expand your view. You're going to see them as one. You're going to see the oneness that all of us want more love. All of us want more peace. All of us want less fear, less compulsion. We see the oneness when we bless people, when we bless ourselves. And so we're invited to try it. Try it. If you're in a group this week, we've got some discussion questions. If you're not in a group this week, we've got some discussion questions for you, some questions to help you go forth, to go within, to be true to your own faith. Spend some time reflecting on these. Take that in, that you are your own unique being. Beautiful expression of spirit. I want to end with this prayer that Rabbi Rami has in here on page 29. He said he's kind of truncated it, but it's from the Discourse on Goodwill. May all who live be filled with lasting joy. May deception end and delusion cease. May no one despise another, nor wish them ill. May love grow boundless, and may hatred end with the release of fear. He says we can become aware of our shared womb, our shared suffering, our shared quest for happiness. So take that in for this moment and allow yourself to be true to your own faith. Go forth. Just look and hold your seat. Being the creative, beautiful being that you are. Namaste. Peace be with you.